It is so hot, even inside the damn house. Anyways, oops, I forgot to label that part 1 of 2. Oh well, I'll edit it later. So, childhood trauma, part 6, 2 of 2, about betrayal. So, I mentioned the first instance of betrayal being when I got punished for something that I had always done before my mom got married and she laughed at me. And then after that, it was, my business being thrown around and being criticized constantly, of course. But the other time that I remember was one person, like, after what happened to me, I didn't trust anybody that had a anybody that was male presenting that was not queer. And so when my mom started dating again, I felt betrayed because it's just like, do you not remember what happened to me? Like, do you want it to happen again? Like, why would you even start dating people after that? That should have ended it for you, which that's not fair because it wasn't her fault. Like, and it might not have even been her fault that she couldn't, it might have been that she couldn't get me help, not so much that, it was that I didn't, she thought I didn't need it because, this happens to everybody. So I don't put that entirely on her, but it frustrated the shit out of me as a kid because it's just like you're constantly dating people and I was like, whatever. They never actually go any further than a phone conversation and her going out anyways. They never make the threshold. Now, when I got into high school, they started crossing the threshold. And I was just like, when she started actually talking about like marriage was one of them, I was just like, I kept silent. I refused to interact when she had people. The only ones that I ever interacted with was the nerds because a lot of them didn't really care to interact with us as kids, anyways. They weren't trying to interact. They were just focused on her, and it was like we weren't even there. And that was whatever, because it's just like, okay, you're keeping her distracted from me because to me, when she wasn't dating somebody, she was overly interested in me, overly focused on me, trying to control my every fucking move. And it's like, I already have to sit here and like move my body as a robot into what I think people really want to see. And nobody understands me when I talk the way that I know how to talk. I have to talk the way that I know that they can understand me. And even still, it's like a fucking language barrier. And I have had people with legitimate language barriers. And they understood me better than people who spoke only English. And that was fucking infuriating and it's triggering. And I am expressing that fucking anger because I have been holding it in for hellas. That is fucking annoying. Like, I speak English. Why is it that you do not understand me even when I speak in the way that you speak? I speak to you the same way that you speak to me so that you can understand me, and then I have to over fucking explain. Which I think kind of shows up in these videos too. But, yeah, that was fucking frustrating. But they mostly ignored us. One of them didn't really interact so much as tried to parent me without actually first getting to know me. Just because you are in the same room with me doesn't mean that you're getting to know me. And would read my computer screen when I walked away, which, you know, that goes along with like privacy when I was talking about in another video, where like he would read my computer's screen and like say things like he was trying to act as a parent. And I was just like, I would ignore it because I wasn't allowed to say anything because, you know, I'm a kid. And at one point, I had an instance where I was like, I said something to my mom and then walked away. And she followed after me into my room, and I didn't want to be fucking touched. And I tried to like push her away, but she was like, no, 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 look at me, look at me. Like she grabbed I think she grabbed my face. I don't really remember the exact details, but like she made me look at her and she's like, do you really think that he would hurt you? And I was just like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know because it could be anybody. We literally called this man dad for fucking years. And, you know, the last 2 kids was by him. And I don't fucking know. That's the thing. They look like everybody. They are family. That I was just like, I don't fucking know. I just know I don't fucking like this man. And he was in my fucking business trying to parent me. Like, I thought we had a good thing going with it just being us. And so then she starts crying, I start crying, we're all crying. I don't remember exactly what the word exchange was, but you know, it was fine. And then, you know, life went on like normal, which that was a pretty common occurrence where it's like, oh, all of these emotions coming up, all of this noise, talk, nothing changes. And so the next instant, she's not dating him anymore. She's dating somebody far worse. And I don't think she let him know that he was on speaker one time and he said some pretty inappropriate stuff in the presence of us kids. And yeah, it was gross. So yeah. Moving on, he did try to poison us, which is why I don't like chocolate covered strawberries to this day. Because he had brought us some food that he had had, and the strawberries were moldy. And I think sometime after that, yeah, I'm just gonna finish the strawberry story. Yeah, he brought us some moldy chocolate covered strawberries. I bit into it, smelled something funky, immediately spit it out. Didn't even gag because I knew, like, my mom was Danny Tanner from the fucking show, minus all the bad stuff going on behind the scenes, like the actual show. Just take that part. With dirt. She didn't want you even breathing over her cup. If she set it down, she would leave it and never touch it again. Well, I rushed. Didn't even have time to gag because I was trying to save her fucking life. And it was me and my sister running through the hall like we had lost our motherfucking minds to stop her from eating this shit. And we told her. And she's like, oh, okay, thanks. And I was like, yeah, tried to poison us. We actually reference him as the boyfriend that tried to poison us to this day. And I used to love chocolate covered strawberries, but anyways. So this boyfriend ended up interacting, like I was forced to interact. I didn't want to interact with him. I was forced to. Like playing tennis and all of that shit, which I loved tennis because, you know, Venus and Serena was a big thing during my childhood, and I loved tennis. And I could never actually do it for a real sport because they didn't have it when we had moved states. And yeah, so I was like, sure, at least we're playing something that I actually like. Everybody was fucking terrible at it, by the way. Absolutely fucking terrible. And I was out of practice because I hadn't played in years. But sure, it's fun because, you know, we're just running around having fun. That's fun. I guess part 3 of part 6. So this is part 2 of part 6, and I'm gonna move on to do a part 3 of part 6.